Hello students, welcome back to my channel Bio World. With my ongoing topic reproductive system, in my part 2 video I would be talking more about the female reproductive system and the status of pregnancy in her body. Now you can see in the image I have drawn over here on the board, I wrote here the human fetus. That means soon after fertilization is completed and that fertilization forms zygote which undergoes cleavage, that is also known as mitotic cell division. Rapid cell division takes place after fertilization, and when the ball of cells attain the 16 cell stage, it starts moving from the fallopian duct and till it becomes a big ball of cells, which is also called blastocyst, surrounded by a certain structure called trophoblast. It comes into the uterine cavity, and in the inner layer of the endometrium or the wall of uterus, we also call it as such, it get implanted by formation of a pit. Now you know what is a pit. It's a structure, it's like a hole like structure where the ball has to get into it, like the fixation of the blastocyst. So after completion fertilization, so you have to know first about fertilization. I am writing here, you have to know this term, fertilization. That leads to implantation. Now, sometimes it happens that after fertilization, if there is any problem or obstacle in the uterine cavity or the lining, it do not result in implantation and pregnancy fails to get achieved in the female body. So we can administer it that a female can be called as pregnant female only when the fertilized zygote or embryo get implanted on the inner lining of the uterine cavity. So after implantation, the rapid cell division starts with the formation of the germ layer. The germ layer give contribution to the different physiological system in the fetus body along with the formation of placenta. Now you can see the fetus which I have, or the embryo which I have drawn here in the uterine cavity, surrounded by the finger-like projection called placenta. Actually this finger-like projection, it is also known as placental villi. So after implantation, rapid formation of placenta takes place. Now what is placenta, you have to understand. So implantation results in placenta formation. Now placenta is very important to understand. Now placenta is a connecting link. It's a connecting link between the mother's body and the fetus body, that embryo's body. Now we know that the embryo is very small to undergo all kind of physiological functions, including the process of respiration, nutrition, excretion. Any of the physiological process would be very difficult in the body of the fetus unless all the physiological system grows up properly. So all these functions which are undertaken in the body of the fetus is via placenta. So this word has to be understood like very nicely. So you can see the finger-like projection which are developed on the outer lining of the structure, the membrane which encloses the fetus is called placenta. So it's a link between the uterus, that is mother's uterus, and the fetus outermost cell, that is a trophoblast cell. So this placenta is the intermingling or the intermixing or the connection between the fetus and the mother, through which all the possible things are interchanged or exchanged. The process that involves in the exchange of different physiological functions are only via only one process, that is called diffusion. So you have to keep it in mind this also, that the diffusion is the only possible way, because we understand that the baby is very delicate, remember, and there could not be any kind of direct mixing of blood between the mother's body and the fetus body. So whatever the exchanges, whatever the interchanging of the nutrients, excretory waste and hormones, enzymes, antibodies, whatever the functional aspect, whatever happening in between the fetus body and the mother's body is via the process diffusion. Now a question can come, why? The reason only because the fetus is very delicate, the cells and tissues are just growing, they're very sensitive. So if the adult, like mother is an adult person, if the high blood pressure, the pressure of the mother's blood get into the fetus blood, it could damage the delicate cells and tissues of the fetus, and there could be any mishappening taking place. To avoid that, there is just a diffusion process. That means from the placenta, through the diffusion, the respiratory gases, for example, I'm talking about oxygen from the placenta get into the fetus body, and carbon dioxide from the fetus goes out via the placenta. The structure that brings all these necessary things to the fetus body is a cord-like structure, which is like amalgamation, which is the assemblance of all the blood vessels, arteries and veins, is called umbilical cord. So you have to keep it in mind. Umbilical cord, which rises from the navel of the fetus, is very important. It is the cord-like structure which is like made up of number of blood vessels, arteries and veins, that carries all necessary nutrients inside the baby's body from the placenta, and removed all the unnecessary waste out of the fetus body via it. And now we'll go, now placenta acts as a like very important gland, and it is at the same time also acts as an endocrine gland. So there are a lot of hormones secreted from placenta that are important for the female reproductive system as well as the growth and development of the fetus for the coming 9 months, in which the fetus has to grow to its complete development phase. So placenta, the question can come, placenta is a temporary endocrine gland. That means temporary, why? Because as soon the fetus is delivered out after the gestation period, the placenta is also expelled out from the uterus. So it do not remain after the birth of a fetus. It has to be removed out. So it's a temporary organ, and as well as endocrine, because it secretes many hormones for the rapid growth and development of the fetus. So this was the main thing about placenta. Now after so placenta is formed by two structures. One is the wall of the uterus, help in the formation of placenta, and another is the membrane that encloses the fetus. I'll be talking about more about the extramembranic layer that surrounds the fetus, or the extrafetal membrane here only. So after the formation of placenta, the fetus is surrounded by 3 fetal membranes. So we have to learn those names, which are very important. The fetal membrane, students, you have to learn about this. The fetal membrane or the extraembryonic membrane, which is also called as like the first one, fetal membranes. That surrounds the fetus, encloses the fetus and helps in protecting the fetus, and also at the same time exhibit some of the physiological function. So we start from the innermost membrane that surrounds the fetus called amnion. Now this is a very important word to understand. What is amnion? Now amnion is the most inner one, like it's the innermost membrane. You can see this is the fetus, and this one is amnion. Now it makes a sac around the fetus, and it is also known as amniotic sac. And in that amniotic sac there lies amniotic fluid, in which the baby bath, like baby remains in that fluid. it's a pressure absorber, it's a shock absorber, and it nourishes the baby and all other many functions along with. So amnion is a sac which has amniotic fluid in it. So the function of amniotic fluid we have to learn very nicely. So it's a shock absorber, pressure maintenance, nourishes the fetus, and like all round development of the fetus takes place in this amniotic fluid throughout the 9 months. So the most important protective membrane surrounding the fetus. The second one is chorion. Now this is the outermost membrane, remember, and it helps in the formation of placental villi. So we have to remember, I told you that the placenta is formed by 2 ways, like one from the side of the mother's body, that the uterine wall helps in the formation of villi, and another from the structure called chorion, like the outermost membrane of the fetus that helps in this formation of placenta. So we have to remember, if the function of chorion comes, so you can write that it helps in the placenta formation. And the third extramembranic layer or the membrane is allantois. The function yet to be decided. It says that it comes out from like the navel of the baby. It's like a sac like structure which comes like this, and it helps in throwing the waste material out of the baby's body, throwing out waste from fetus. So these are the 3 most important membrane that surrounds the fetus and helps in the different physiological function and maturity of the fetus throughout the gestation period. So we have to remember about the extrafetal membrane, extraembryonic membrane that surrounds the fetus. There is another one also called yolk sac, which the function is yet to be defined like that. It has no function in terms of human fetus development is concerned. So we came across to the development of the extraembryonic membrane that surrounds the fetus and helps in the development. The placenta, the function of placenta, amnion, amniotic fluid, umbilical cord, the structure which connects the fetus with the placenta and helps in all interchanging and exchanging of the material in and out of the fetus body. The uterus cavity, the uterine cavity which helps the fetus to grow in size, and the other one which helps in the parturition. Like after the 9 months, the full period of gestation is completed, the fetus has grown to the last level, like after 280 days of gestation period, this amniotic sac bursts, the fluid is liberated out. That helps in the lubrication of the passage to expel the fetus out of the mother's body from the uterus. Now only amniotic fluid is not the reason in the parturition of the fetus, along with some endocrine secretion from the ovaries, from the placenta, which helps in the expulsion of the fetus. Like there is a hormone called relaxin, estrogen and progesterone, and all other hormones that help in the development of the fetus is also present. Like thyroxine level rises, estrogen, progesterone rises, SCG that are released from the fetus, placenta also is there. There are prolactin which are secreted from the anterior pituitary, you know about it. So these are the different hormones that helps in the development of the fetus and parturition, and prolactin also helps in the development of the mammary gland. Soon after the baby is expelled out, after the birth of the baby, the prolactin secretion rises for the stimulation of the mammary gland to stimulate the milk ejection out of the mammary gland for the feeding of the baby. So these were the things which you have to learn about the development of the fetus and the development of the fetal membrane, and the terms also. We will talk about the terms in my separate video where I will be writing about the terminologies. I'll mainly write about the terminology so that you can learn them nicely, like the terms like very important with the keyword fertilization, then implantation, then gestation, then ovulation. These are the different terms which are very important to learn, and also with some functions of some structure which are very important. So student, hopefully this can enhance your learning and may help you in your preparation. If you have liked this video, please do like it, share it with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe it. Thank you for watching it.